So I made the trek down the road to go see Terrifier 2 tonight in theaters, and unlike the movie, this review will not be 2.5 hours long. It seemed like Terrifier 2 was getting a pretty good groundswell ever since it premiered at some film festival secretly, and despite having an extremely long runtime, not only for a slasher film, but just movies in general, it was getting positive praise, so that got me a little bit hopeful. First movie is fine for what it is a low-budget slasher film. The grassroots movement of Art the Clown is actually pretty cool when you know where he really came from. He was a side character in an anthology movie that people were like, that clown's really cool. So Terrifier 2, is it good? I had a blast with it. It was really, really gory. I mean, it made Adam Green films look like Sesame Street. Terrifier 2 is not really something you review spoiler or spoiler free because it is what it is. It's a slasher film about a killer clown. The basic story is a brother and sister are our main characters with their mom. She's a single parent. The dad has some slight weird involvement that really doesn't make that much sense at the end of the movie, but it's not something you judge because the whole movie's an entire bloodbath. Basically, the star of the movie is the daughter and her battle with Art the Clown throughout the movie as she gets to him and they beat the shit out of each other. But I'll say this, despite the really long runtime of Terrifier 2, every scene basically was just a showcase of extreme practical effects, gore, makeup. It was pretty nasty, but it was so over-the-top entertaining, I just ate it up. There was one scene where a girl's head gets ripped right off. Then he goes and gets acid, bleach, and salt. And he dumps salt into the cuts. And despite the fact that that's not the nastiest physical thing you see done, that's what hurt the most. Pouring salt into her, it was just brutal. Art the Clown rips people in half, cuts open their chest, completely cuts off penises. There is nothing off the table in Terrifier 2. Truly just 2 hours of pure insanity. And, God, I kind of am impressed that they managed to pull it off. I mean, really, for a movie this long, it never got boring, I'll tell you that. I mean, every scene led up to a disgusting scene, and, somehow each one seemed to get nastier than the next. I'll give it up to David Howard Thornton, definitely owning the role of Art the Clown, and he's got it down pretty much to a pad. He's identifiable by this movie. You kind of see his personality, and you can kind of see the way he's going to react, and you know how he's going to react to certain people in the movie, because he's got the personality down pretty well. So definitely Art the Clown has an identity, and I gotta give credit. You know, that's pretty cool. All the acting in this was literally perfect for this type of movie. There's people you'll recognize. Felissa Rose has a very small part in this movie, and when I say very small, I mean don't blink. Tamara Glenn from Halloween 5 is in here. Literally don't blink. Chris Jericho has a small role in this. But the best performance has to be the mom of the family, in my opinion. She's pissed off the entire movie. She's a single parent dealing with 2 kids, and she's just pissed off, angry, and angsty. I love the mom, but then the daughter was great too. Everybody was good for this movie. No overacting. Getting that X factor of acting in a slasher film, I don't really know how to explain it, but they got it down in this movie. It's like one of those movies where you're entertained, but you're able to get lost into the movie. So, I don't know. I'm actually really impressed that they pulled this movie off. I'm being honest. The other thing I really want to give credit to in this movie is the look of it. It felt like at the theater, and here's the thing. I'd say go to the theater to see it if you can, because I worry that when this movie comes out on Blu-ray, it's not going to look as good, because watching it in the theater, it looked like we were watching native 4K image, because everything looks so natural and dense, and you could see the thickness of the rooms the people were in, and it looked like he had some kind of film grain filter on there, because it gave you the impression you were watching 35mm, which I really doubt that they used, because that would be expensive, but it gave you that impression, and the movie was shot really well and fun. It kind of had like that Hellfest vibe, really great colors, but it looked like you were watching something in super high def in the movie theater, and I'm terrified, no pun intended, when this movie hits home video, that it's going to thin out the image a lot and just look oversaturated. Go to the theater to see this if you can. I mean, I'm serious, because I just have a bad feeling whoever puts this on physical media, unless they give us a 4K of it, it's going to really thin the image out. But look, I'm not going to go into too much more about Terrifier 2. All I'm going to say is you're definitely going to want to check this out when it hits Screambox, and hopefully we get a really good physical release of this where they do not compress the image at all, because it was gorgeous in the theater. And when I say it was the goriest film I've ever seen, this is on level with like Dead Alive. probably beats Dead Alive, if I'm being honest. This could be the goriest film I've ever seen, but it was fun. I had a great time. Me and the wife were actually laughing. The theater was nothing but horror fans in there, naturally, and everybody was laughing, having a good time. People were yelling at appropriate times. It was kind of like a Rocky Horror Picture Show type atmosphere. Everybody was just in it to win it and having fun. So my only gripe is too damn long. I'm sorry. 2.5 hours is ridiculous. Unless your name is Martin Scorsese, 2.5 hours of anything I can get bored with. And this movie was never boring, so I will not say that's a criticism at all, but just 2.5 hours is a long time. It really hinders my ability to be able to watch this. I'm going to have to plan to revisit this movie because it's going to take up a significant chunk of time. Other than that, guys, for what this is, I'll probably give this 4 stars. I mean, it's a slasher film, and I'm rating it on that premise and that base. It's got the most craziest gore I've ever seen. It was shot pretty damn well and looked great in theater, but again, it may not look as good on Blu-ray if they compress the hell out of it. The acting was perfectly fine for a slasher film. David Howard Thornton has the role down, and Art the Clown has his personality, and you know and anticipate what that character is going to do because he's got it done so well. I'm going to give Terrifier 2 2 thumbs up, and it's way better than the first one, I'll tell you that. The stakes are raised big time, and it's a love letter to true 80s gore, man. So check it out if you can, but really go to the theater and see it. I mean, I can't stress that enough. If you can see it in the theater, do it, because I'm terrified of how bad the Blu-ray could possibly look if they compress the hell out of it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Terrifier 2 is going to get a 2 thumbs up from me. That probably the goriest movie I've ever seen to date. Check it out, guys. Thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, and music, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month.